Hey friends! In today's video, I just want to do a quick flip through of my brand new personal journal that I made for myself. I am so excited to get started working in this book, so I thought I'd film a quick little flip through so that you can see it before anything's been done to it. This journal measures about 9 inch by 6 inches this way, and it has a 2-inch spine. I did a little bit of embossing on the spine to make it a little bit fancier, and I used gold paint around the edges to just make it look really nice and distressed. I have a cute little dangle on the side, including lots of different items. This little elephant was gifted to me by a friend from Sri Lanka, and she had just gone back home for a visit, and this was my souvenir. I didn't want to wreck it on my car keys, so I thought I'd hang it on my journal. On the cover, I painted some trees to kind of go along with the picture of the raccoon. Raccoons, by the way, are my absolute #1 favorite animal. And so I came across this print in a really cute little store that we have in one of our neighboring cities, and they curate a lot of vintage, I don't know, like craft materials. They'll do fussy cutting, and you can buy that sometimes for 10 cents. So this was a real steal, and I really wanted it to be the cover of my book. So let's get into it. So here I just attached it using some sticky burlap tape, and it's removable, but I intend to leave it there. And it's attached to vellum at the back. I like having vellum at the front because you can stick sticky notes and other things on there without ruining the paper. I attached, using my sewing machine, some stamps to use as page tabs, and I used a lot of my very favorite scrapbooking paper in this journal because I tend to hoard it, and I really wanted to use up a lot of my really precious things that I've been saving. Because why do we save it? It just means our stash gets bigger, and it deserves to be in a book. So yeah, I'll just keep going. I used a lot of double-sided paper because that way it's pretty front and back. I have some coloring pages here, and I attached a lot of scraps to the edge of the paper just to make it look nice. I did the same thing here. This is just some tea-dyed notebook paper, and there we got the center of that signature. I tried to kind of stick in a color palette, but it's just a little bit of everything in here. More stamps. Stamps were what I used all along the pages as my tabs on this journal. I can assume that you'll notice most of my pages are pretty blank. When I very first started making journals, I really decorated the pages a lot. But then I discovered that when I'm journaling, that's when I really like to decorate the pages. So now my books are fairly blank. I do a little bit of decorating on the edges of pages, but I like to leave that part for when I'm actually journaling. And when I'm selling my books, I also like to leave them pretty blank because I figure if that's the part I really like, then other people probably like to do the same. So this is a double pocket, and I just closed it with my sewing machine and a couple scraps of some pretty paper. I included Bambi pages because they just went really well with kind of the woodland theme that I was going with. More tea-dyed paper just for that crunch. Man, I like that. I've got just some sketchbook paper in here. This is from an old ledger. These were from painting magazines that I got my hands on, so This is like an art grading book, I guess. So I just left a flip out there. Other side of all those pages. Some of the backs were white, but I think we all can agree that when we're journaling, not much is left white. I know I really like to layer my pages, so that's why I kind of like keeping them as minimal as I can. Got old music books that I used in here. Some happy flowery scrapbooking paper. This is ledger, but it's actually, it's scrapbook paper. It's a pretty sturdy cardstock. More music paper. This is just some tea-dyed graph paper. I find graph paper so cool in a journal, but it's super thin. So when I tea dye it, it seems to kind of make it bulk up a little bit. And this too, I just sprinkled some leftover tea. Here's some more vellum. It's kind of neat to have it as a little dashboard. More scrapbooking paper. Got some more of those pages from Storybook. More tea-dyed notebook paper for writing. Loose leaf. I have so much. I have kids every year. They have leftover from school, so I'm trying to use it up. And there's the back side of that vellum. And now we're into the last signature. I just stitched these on, just little something. I figured if I decided not to use them, I can always just take them off. Graph paper. This is a scrapbook paper, and I just sewed the scrap from the top to make a belly band on the front and back. More of that tea-dyed paper. This is from a book about houseplants. So I just made a little flip out there. So it's blank, but I think that the pages are just interesting enough that will keep me inspired and leave me lots of room to be creative when I'm journaling. It's lined with fabric, and there's the back. The cover was made with craft text, and then I sewed, painted, and I also varnished it a few times. So yeah, that's my new journal. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, and if you'd like to see a tutorial on such a book, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day, everybody.